Hot 10 Hot Private. This is the War on Comics. I'm Colin.
I'm Omar.
Today, we're wrapping up our Watchmen cover. This is a small little book that could, a little indie funded book. I think this is a Indiegogo
Yeah.
that caught funded, and we're shining a light on it. No, it's probably arguably the biggest comic of the 20th century. God, that's a crazy thing to say.
It's gotta be.
There's a
I think it is. It's my vote.
There's it's like featured on like, was it New York Times like
Oh yeah.
list of like is the only graphic novel that was on
Rolling
their list of
Stone's
novels.
actual list of
Okay.
best graphic novels for real. So
It's just the biggest. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when you have like, Rorschach is not Spider-Man. Spider-Man is this global
that's true.
character, but maybe like at the same time, like the people who like Spider-Man, there's a lot. I would probably argue the majority of people who like Spider-Man have never read a Spider-Man comic. Whereas, if you like Dr. Manhattan and Rorschach and all of that,
And the gang.
it's unfathomable to me that you haven't read these 12 issues. So as a singular work, it might be the biggest. I'm gonna have to strain my brain on that one.
Yeah.
Singular work, you know?
It doesn't feel wrong to say either.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. It's like it garners the it commands it.
And with that said, it might feel a little bit I don't know, trite to cover something this big and examine it. But I hope the people watching this have maybe seen that it still merits, despite its ubiquity, despite like how kind of overly analyzed and mused over that it is. There is still some value in returning to the well, digging in, and reading and rereading and reanalyzing. And with that said, I think we're ready to get into the last. We're gonna look at this tiny ass book.
Well,
do you bring your magnifying glass?
I think we could do it. Did you bring that old thing?
I didn't slam it this time. Okay, we got the absolute edition here.
Of course,
we're gonna crack into it. We're gonna get really into the reads as we close out the third and final lap of Watchmen. Damn. Now looking
good. Sweet. And we're good.
All right. Chapter 9, issue 9. This is basically in the prior issue. We've disappeared to the moon, and now we're doing. It's just Sally Jupiter and Dr. Manhattan yapping on the moon. No.
A POV kind of
Sally
take.
Jupiter, right? Yeah, because her stuff is zooming in and out, and of course she gets really sick. God, what a weird panel, and what a great effect blasting out the white around the stars to kind of produce this internal atmosphere.
He calls it, I think, her aura and stuff like that.
And they're at the Glass Palace, and it gets a little tedious with the time stuff where it's like, 5 minutes ago I said this, and then in 15 minutes we'll have this discussion upstairs, which is and she's actually, I think this is the page where she's like, well, what if I don't want to follow you up there? And he just marches up, and then she's like, hey, what happens then? So
it is kind of funny, but it works, I think. Like, especially this. I mean,
I guess in a sense, like Sally doesn't really get a proper chapter to herself. So in a weird way, in the middle of this, like global standoff, and as the plot gets like more and more intense, we're still taking some time and fleshing out these characters. But Sally Jupiter is kind of just going into her childhood, looking back at things, and I don't really have a whole lot for this. I think I was kind of just engrossed by the dialogue. A little bit of a wordy chapter, I suppose, and I guess the plot doesn't necessarily move forward so much as we dig down into these characters and really get into the philosophy of Dr. Manhattan.
It feels like on theme too. They're kind of just like parked on Mars, right? They're
right.
Like it's like a
It's
lonely,
Mars. Why
desolate.
do I keep saying the moon? I'll say Mars.
Is it Mars?
Is it the moon or is it Mars?
I think it's Mars because they mentioned the when like exactly that moment you were saying 5 minutes ago,
Right,
like
right.
I was talking to Rorschach or whatever. He says in 10 minutes we'll be talking on my palace on Mars and
Okay,
shit
so
like that.
there
But
we go.
this is the orchestration of nostalgia being such a like pungent and strong like memory, like everyone has these kind of like repressed memories,
Yeah,
and
and
hers are.
I think we're also, the nostalgia sort of double. Well, of course, it's a Veet of
Yeah.
product, so it's like his hand is in everything. And I think there's also this idea of of nostalgia that like people have for comic book figures, and of course we're kind of seeing all these stories unfold repeatedly through different characters' POVs, and different scenes play out in different ways, which I think attaches to the nostalgia as being sort of so subjective, right? One person's nostalgia is another person's great horror. I don't know if you're tuned in right now with this 2016 nostalgia thing. But
I've been seeing.
Seems to be
it's not going away, huh?
well, I think really it's just people have 10 years worth of photos on their phone now, so it's easier to look back, and definitely a lot of rose colored glasses with that one. No, needless to say, I've been wearing it. I wore some joggers and Ultra Boosts today, which I feel was a very 2016. I was tuned in 2016, so if we have nostalgia for 2016, I'm in for it. I can lean into it. I have the weapons in my arsenal still. I ain't thrown those out yet. But nostalgia, the perfume, as it ties in with this kind of grander
space and
theme they're playing here of everyone kind of looking back with their in their memories and seeing, I don't know, maybe the reality of all this stuff.
Is this where they get the carved Joker look?
That's a good question. Yeah, because that's from the one he got Nam.
From that, from the lady he got pregnant.
Yes, and murked. Yeah, what's his awful line in here?
I think it's right here.
Yeah, what are you have to take some woman, you have to force her into having sex against her will? Only once.
Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so fucking bad.
And there's like so many double meanings to this stuff, because of course we find out ultimately this is, I don't know, maybe a little bit maybe this plot device doesn't hold up to that much scrutiny. But ultimately she kind of figures out that the comedians are dad.
Yeah.
And John, Dr. Manhattan, didn't really understand this either, didn't see ahead of it. So he's kind of like, and the argument here, it's an interesting conflict, because ultimately it's like, if you were to really look at what's happening, she's saying, hey, Dr. Manhattan, my ex-boyfriend, come intervene and save mankind from Armageddon. And we're kind of seeing the mirror image to the Rorschach chapter in this one play out, where he's like, you guys are just molecules to me. It all has no meaning. It all has nothing. But I think whereas Rorschach takes that as like I don't know, I have to impose my meaning on everyone. I think old Dr. Manhattan here, what's his monologue? Until your mother loves a man she has every reason to hate, and of that union, the thousands of millions of children competing for fertilization, it was you only that emerged to distill so specific a form from the chaos of improbability, like turning air into gold. That is the crowning unlikelihood, the thermodynamic miracle. So ultimately he's saying, like, because he's so immersed in humanity, and because he sees this stuff all the time, it's cheesy, maybe it's corny, I don't know. He's saying
it's a little corny.
There's miracles everywhere, there's miracles all around us, it's amazing. I want to stop Armageddon from happening. I want to stop Armageddon from happening, because this is like worth preserving, because it's just so, if you can get knocked up by You know,
Yeah.
your mom can get knocked up by this, evil person. And, I guess that's like the kind of the ultimate moral graying,
Hmm.
it accidentally, theoretically in this case saves the world, right? Because Dr. Manhattan returning kind of, what do you call it? Ceases
Gentle.
Armageddon from happening. That's sort of the pitch.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, this chance meeting saves the world. But yeah, and I think her mom, or I guess she's Sally Jupiter. Who's a
I think she's the
yeah, I
continuation.
know. What's her name? Is she also named Sally? I can't believe I'm getting her names. Can't even remember basic character names.
Well,
I've been calling
Lori.
Lori. Okay, I've been calling her Sally Jupiter this whole time.
I
Don't hold
think
me
that's
to
her
that.
superhero name.
Anywho,
Anyways, yeah.
so yeah, the original Jupiter gal. She's you can kind of see when the issue of the comedian is brought up. She's conflicted at it, and it's like, I don't know. I guess the larger theme there is like, or it's like a really blunt examination of just like the messiness of humanity, of the
Yeah.
moral grays of these, like, yeah, someone can sexually assault you, which is like, the worst thing you can imagine someone doing to another person.
Yeah.
But maybe you go to them later and maybe you have a kid with them, and it's like, you kind of the it it's the ultimate kind of like this cartoonish portrayal of the messiness of people and how
Yeah.
conflicted and morally gray we can all be. And of course, I guess that, needless to say, that last one ends with the textbook Watchmen smiley face,
Yeah.
which is on the comedian's lapel. And this is from the the impacts on Mars, and then we go to the next one, which is kind of a stealth smiley face.
Yeah,
you know,
pointed that out last time. I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah, we got like this, and it's as they've done with each of these. You have the large one on the cover that goes into the panel on the first page. They can't believe they've been able to keep that up this whole time, and also, how the hell do you move units with this on your cover? I mean, I don't
know. At this point,
these are month-to-month stories, and it's like, that's not. I mean, it's if you know Watchmen and stuff, obviously in the context of this full story, it's awesome. But
Right.
like, you're just walking by on the shelf, there's Teen Titans and Ghost Rider next to it, and you're gonna reach out and grab this. Crazy.
It would definitely look different than those.
Yes.
All the other ones for sure.
And just like a static image, there's no like big. The whole point of a cover, you're supposed to sell something, and we see kind of the pieces and moving around in place to get to this.
Wow.
To get to the Armageddon getting closer. So they're really telling you that now at this point you don't know that Veet Ozymandias is like the guy who's putting this all together, or putting together this big plan, but it's like Ozymandias, the pale horse. Like,
it's right in our faces.
They're really, really telling you that he is the one behind all this, which
classic.
Yes, which is kind of goes back to the first issue, right, with him coming through the window in his proper attire. But these aren't the things if you're just casually reading or like on your first read through, you're gonna be like, oh, Ozymandias is the pale horse. He's the one putting the apocalypse together. But when you go back to it, it's like, oh, those fuckers were fucking telling us what was going on. And speak of the devil. But did you like this Rorschach kind of putting the fear of God into this lady? And,
setting her straight, dang it.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, what a difficult series to illustrate, because, of course, Rorschach is kind of seeing himself as a young kid with this, sex worker of a mother, which is maybe a little too gritty for its own good, but at the same time, that's his own history, and so he's just kind of like, all right, let's just go. The kind of, which is interesting, I guess. So one time he kind of breaks his code, if you think about it, through the whole book. She's supposed to be punished, but
he's, you know what, he's probably getting punished enough,
right? And you can kind of see, you can see, you know what time it is, because they spent all that time fleshing out his character. You know, why he's receptive to this. Here you got Veet just studying, reading the tea leaves, as it were, giving his advice on what to invest in, which is amusing. Owl and Rorschach. See, I think maybe if that last chapter is a little slow or a little like too focused. I mean, again, we're building up to a climax, and you take a whole chapter to just have a conversation where this lady looks back at her past and these weird interplays she had with the comedian. It's like, I don't know, maybe kind of boring, or
slow burn. Maybe.
Isn't moving the plot forward.
Yeah.
These chapters here make up for that one, where it's like, here's what's going on here, here's what's going on there, and we're getting lots and lots of answers.
We're getting just straight up. Oh, and the theme, that they kind of finalized the comic.
Yes, here. You're seeing more of the pirate comic by the absolute genius comic artist. And again, the Veet stuff. At death's approach, all creatures discover an aptitude for violence. Immediately underneath it, the Veet method. It's like, wow. All right. When death was resignation lent her eyes in a certain maturity. The Veet method. Again, this is just a character. This is like, their version of like those Charles Atlas, strong man kind of advertisements in the comics. So it's a little. They've earned it within universe for sure. But again, if you didn't know what was happening here, they are really telling you.
It's also like just kind of cherry if you're a comic book guy.
Yeah.
At this point, you're if you're invested in the story, that just it completes this comic more. The comic within a comic thing. And
of course, like the text in comic real world interplay is like very, very laid into. This is a great series. You got they're getting to the bottom of the Veet assassination, and ultimately, everyone's figuring Rorschach's going to lose it, but it's the Night Owl losing it because they find out that his buddy died in the previous one.
Murdered by gratitude statue.
And the quote unquote knotheads. Okay, here we go. So this is something we're digging into the island where all the artists have kind of been off to. They're putting them back on the cruise ship, and they bomb the cruise ship. Okay, but let's go back. Now that we see the pyramid logo on the cargo ship, which is a big part of this story now, you go back to the first page of the whole comic.
I have no idea. Okay.
This is like, I saw this when I was reading it the first time because I was like looking at everything under a magnifying glass.
Sick.
And like, what's that right there? The same logo, which you don't know as like pyramid. I don't even think they ever explicitly tell you it's like this is the Pyramid Corporation logo or anything, or even initially that Pyramid Corporation is attached to Veet. Obviously, it's like released in time.
Is Ozymandias in this car right now after he murdered the fucking
comedian?
Oh, no way.
It's hard to look at it otherwise. And of course, like we talked about the Gordian knot locksmith at the Owl's house. Night Owl's house. Can we flip to it quickly?
I think it was right.
That logo though is you'll see it just everywhere. That's
man. So this is the newsstand, right?
Yeah, they're just charging up there. So it's like these things. You went on the rereads, you'll just find all of this stuff everywhere, and
hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, actually, I do want to try to find that Gordian knot locksmith bit, which I think comes in when the police bust him after. There's an earlier one too, but he gets his locks redone.
Yeah,
I think sometime around this issue. Just to get a glimpse here, because that Gordian knot stuff comes home to roost in full.
This is where he dies.
Yeah, here's where he dies. Hollis dies. Here's our. Oh wait, the cop comes in earlier. Very unprepared here, folks.
We're going off the cuff.
Yeah. So, they invest. Maybe it's actually.
It's when.
Here we go. There's the Gordian knot locksmith, which just keep that in mind as we approach the end here and we get closure on that. So,
how can the owl homie be so just flabbergasted at everything?
Yeah.
I don't get it. That's one thing. As we flip through, he's just completely flabbergasted at every fucking possible thing that Rorschach is talking about.
I mean, yeah, Rorschach tried to warn you, Buster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ship blows up here, and they're piecing together kind of the who owns who or who's in control of who in the whole Vita corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amusing. Just like what a good page. Just Rorschach kind of rambling to himself
around the room, pacing like just such a hard-boiled detective.
Yeah, what a
thing.
good. Yeah, it just has a single page. Amazing.
I just noticed those are happy faces too.
Aha! See, look at them. They're everywhere. So yeah, so we're cracking the code here in a very kind of hacky way, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
I don't think there's ever been a satisfying. Try his birthday. It worked. I don't think we've ever seen that work. And I'll give this comic some pass, of course, because don't think we were entering passwords in daily, like 13 times just to live our lives like we were back then.
The net had not come out yet with Sandra Bullock. So.
Now it'd be like, well, what is all of his other passwords? It's going to be the same thing here, with some capitalizations and some exclamation points or asterisks. The Rorschach's journal sent into the crank file, which of course comes into play later. Get closure on that. We're following to Veet's, Fortress of Solitude of sorts. Yeah. Everything's all right.
Dude, this motherfucker.
I got another music reference with Dylan's All Along the Watchtower. And
it looks so good in this format, by the way.
Yeah, it's the paper like this color saturation in the paper is really nice. I've never cracked open the originals, but I've also never known anyone to be like, "Oh, dude, the original coloring of Watchmen is the way to go."
Are there diehards for? I know there's diehards for like the Golden Age stuff,
right? Like of coloring and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know which one comes up a lot, and which I really kind of was like pitched as an example that I had to start paying attention to was the coloring on Killing Joke. That one's had some really nightmarish horrors happen to it over the years. Yeah, to the point where if you just get like some like I think maybe they've course corrected since then, but just one of the really digital colored ones, and then you compare it to an original, it's like, oh, this is actually pretty fucking bad.
Damn.
I mean, I'm not as much of an Alan Moore stan as I am. I don't necessarily like cling to the Killing Joke as like a grand masterpiece, like a lot of people do.
Brian Bolland?
I think so. I'm fairly certain that's the artist, and yeah, they're. When you look online, at least you'll see like some comparisons that people have made with the colors, different coloring choices, and when you see them side to side, it's like, oh yeah, that shit's pretty bad. I'm definitely gonna. You're definitely better off with like a press in like an '80s prestige format of that one.
It seems like that's worth it. The actual collected style.
Yeah.
When it's curated, I think those. I mean, I'm trying to sort my my library to kind of like maybe look into books that I'm just going to read over and over again.
Yes.
But I want to get the definitive
colors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like what did the artist's intent on that?
Yeah, and that can get really sticky with the newsprint stuff because it's like they were so bound by the limitations of the three colors but then the digital stuff can be so bad. Like when the digital recolors of old artwork, like when they just 3D out the flats in a way that they really have no business doing.
Editor's note, Rassel, that episode that we did on that. That was bad.
And that was an artist having complete control. So that's kind of, just a pitch against just against digital coloring at all. We're looking at a fucking comic book here, a bound book.
Yeah.
So needless to say, we're maybe a little bit more on the Luddite side of things.
True.
But yeah, I definitely don't want to. I've seen color. The color stuff is why people really are purists of the originals. But I haven't seen that much gripes about the Watchmen stuff over the years. I think there's always been some degree of control over it naturally, to where they didn't really have a lot of heavy lifting to do to bring it into the modern age. And the symbolism was all in every square inch of this comic. You can't just like have fun with the recoloring.
No way.
You really got to play this stuff straight. And I like this. I like this version, but I guess I haven't read a version of Watchmen where I'm like, oh, let's fuck this one up.
Yeah, right. Like the colors are off or anything.
Yeah,
like
it's always, even at its worst, it's still fucking Watchmen.
Yeah.
Anywho, so we're outside of Veets kind of chamber, and I do like this. What a god! Like, we're seeing snow kind of get on this dome and essentially like kind of melt off, and then like a new burst of wind kind of brings a new coat of snow, and then it kind of melts off, and it's a little eerie,
Yes.
but helps establish the environment that they're in.
Mhm.
And there's as with all of Watchmen, none of this stuff is wasted. So like everything they're doing is like economic. Like on one hand, it's like a cool way to open this up, but on the other hand, it's like, well, what is underneath the surface shining through, and what are things that don't belong in these environments? And there's a lot of ways you could look at
it's just an odd. Well, I guess it likens it to like the snow globe from that previous chapter.
Yes, absolutely. And which they kind of tie in with the nostalgia perfume bottle. Like there's none of this stuff is accidental.
Yeah, I'm curious about how long this script took to make, because it's got to be. They must have had this whole thing completed up.
I'm just so in awe of Alan Moore as a writer. I think that there's just some level of locked in that certain people in this world will be, that you're just not going to get there.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
This dude is the zenith.
Yeah, of like just packing in multi-layers in every single square inch. And I mean, he never gets like lazy as a writer. Imagine like you do this kind of comic, and it's a huge success. Maybe you can follow it up with, you have too much integrity to do Watchmen 2. But, you could do something similar, I guess. But his follow-up is, I want to say, like the Swamp Thing saga.
Oh, okay.
And then from that, he does From Hell, to me, is like amazing, which is just a phenomenal comic in its own right. But like, if you think it's tough to be like, above him, there's the painting of Alexander the Great. And, he's looking at, imagine the scripting of all this stuff, 9-panel layout. He walks over to the machine. He sees this thing. He pushes the button, make sure to show the time, yada, yada.
Because that's going to be important in a few
pages. What does it take to research everything about fucking the Jack the Ripper? Breaking out real history books and like trying to map all of that stuff out, like create like what he did with the creation of that story, which has like nothing to do with a story like this, or a story like the metaphysical stuff that's in Swamp Thing. It's like, it's one thing to be able to like, like Stephen King, I think, is obviously like a super prolific writer.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't think it's that hard,
Well, his whole thing is just do a vomit pass. That's what he calls it. Just vomit pass stories, and then in there will be a nugget of a story, and then you just keep going until
I don't think
you have something.
I guess my point being, I've never read a Stephen King book and been like, man, how does he do it? It's like, no, he just does some blow, bangs some shit out, and like they all kind of have like through lines. It's like
each of them have like almost the same rhythm too.
Yeah.
Like he has a way of working it that I think is straight ahead.
Yes.
Whereas like I think with the Alan Moore stuff, there are too many levels.
Yes.
Where he is injecting all of this energy into each of these levels,
and a diversity of kind of stories he's telling, to where it's like, again, there's I'll never apologize for being an Alan Moore stan. And so we're flashing back to the cityscape, and I really like on this read. I was really enjoying how they were kind of orchestrating this scene in the city, because of course the big point is that it's all gets wiped out.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't really see it in the moment. You are kind of invested in all these characters. You want our girl to meet up with and make up with her ex, who we've been seeing throughout this. You want this concert to go off fine. You want all of these things to work out well. All the little slices of the tableau they're setting up, but what a tableau to set up just to fucking cut it, silence it.
They're gonna take the rug and just pull that rug.
It's so much work. Yeah. They're putting so much on top of the rug.
Yeah, it's so all these pieces are about to fall, basically.
And oh man, I love this comic.
But then, like, reflected with this, and I did you ever watch that kayfabe episode where they did with Dave Gibbons?
No, I don't think I did.
That might be one to look up. I saw it back in the day when they covered it with him, and they were talking about how this might be probably the greatest from here on, the greatest reveal of a supervillain in comics history.
For
just
sure.
The way they lay it out.
Yeah, it's so satisfying. And I've harped on since the beginning of this analyzation, and what I've kind of really believe is the best way to read Watchmen, or the most impressive perspective of Watchmen, is while one thing is happening, another thing's happening. It's a shell game. They're moving things around. Again, you're looking, and this is what a spread right here, because you have character development, right? You know these characters very well. The world that they live in is very well established. You have like craft in terms of like the way setting up like a comic book within a comic book, and the text interacts with the world, interacts with the dialogue, and everything that's happening in the comic is symbolic of everything that's happening in the world. And like all of that, which is like a technical skill, I guess you could say, and the writing, the dialogue, the doing laying that out as a checkerboard, doing a 9-panel grid, like so you're doing something very complex in the writing, but about as simple of a layout as you can have. All of that's happening, but while all that's happening, if you're paying attention to any of that, then you're missing out on this plot. Yeah. And any of those things can kind of stand on their own, Any of those things could be their own story, and that could be the only strength they have. But since everything's happening in it, it's just that much more fascinating to read. And I think what kind of gets lost in the symbolism and the philosophy and the references and the yada yada is a really good plot. Just like a cool story, and a terrific villain reveal.
At its core, this whole thing is just a great story that they're balancing. And like Alan Moore, I think, obviously deserves a lot of the credit, and also I think Dave Gibbons is like keeping pace with what I think Alan Moore won.
Well, like I said, it's that balance. I mean, Gibbons stuff, like I don't know. Think of I don't know. Would you want Sam Keith to be drawing this?
No, that's
would you want someone with like too much personality drawing this? Like
it's a perfect pairing for this story.
Yes, because it's pretty straight. Like I think this style is maybe less comic book, almost more like fashion style. Like the characters aren't super exaggerated, which ties in with the theme of like grounding these characters, like comic book tropes, or superhero tropes, grounding that within
because this isn't
a real world.
Like this ain't Archie's style. This
it's not cartoonish. And it's easy on the eyes. It's it's hyper legible. You can never confuse like the perspective here, which by the way, the perspective gets
So
a little
good.
bit gnarlier as we go along,
Yeah.
but it's all for as many moving parts as they are, it's super coherent and very grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Gibbons is just like, there's no one else that could have drawn this and had it be like as, I don't know, pitch perfect in its tone of the matching the story.
Like
You can't.
elegant.
Yeah,
Almost.
absolutely. You know, like it's not. There's not. It's not crudely drawn. It's all these backgrounds are like fleshed out. No corners cut. No, the artwork is astonishing.
Oh.
And yeah, I love this like layout as he's kind of telling, and in a sense, this is kind of Veet's chapter, you know,
Yeah.
like everyone gets their own kind of character
backstory and everything.
Moment, and this is kind of Veet's, and you know, we see him traveling the world and just yapping at these people, and it's like, what a terrific way, just like the way the layout is.
Yeah.
Showing that he's kind of poisoned these people and revealing his plan to them. And just like this butterfly, I think, is the most subtle way of showing this. Like it's eerie, it's so ominous, and like
it's so dark. Just
this, you know, opening with that kind of dome with all the snow on it. Like, again, this is Comix craft here, just showing how this is progressing time and then being covered by those blasts of snow that we kind of opened the story with, showing Ozymandias's disregard for life and beauty and willingness to sort of, you know, destroy anything if it is in service of this greater plan.
They're all dealing with nihilism,
right?
Like in their own way. They are. Is it because they're superheroes? I don't know if this is even like the level that Alan Moore is working with. I'm sure it is, or it's probably even more complex. But like on this reread, as like a more mature person, I was noticing how like in a post superhero world that they are living in, most of them aren't really doing what they love or what they like, what their purpose was.
Yeah.
And on some level, Veet is also not really purpose driven at this point, you know? Like he's looking at the world like, oh yeah, it was conquered, so now we need to go and move on to the new thing.
Yeah, or you know, this is just what needs to be done,
right?
Regardless of all of whatever stands in its way. This is the greater good, a utilitarian look at things. And yeah, you have, I guess it's like there's the kind of three ways to see it. You have Rorschach's pessimism, you know, in the three outcomes of not, they're all standing at this point of postmodernism, right? Well, like we impose the meaning onto the world ourselves. There is no inherent meaning, which is of course completely counter to every superhero comic you've ever read, which is there's good guys, there's bad guys, yada yada.
The morality.
Yes, and so in this postmodern like gray morality world, it's like Rorschach's take is like all is like everyone is scum, they're worthless, and my value and my will is all that matters. Dr. Manhattan's is kind of like, well, everything's a miracle, everything's amazing, you know, if you go back wide enough. And then Veets is like, well, if you go out wide enough, like here's just like what needs to be done, like completely utilitarian, no romanticism, no humanity in it, which is like, I don't know, an interesting way to kind of a character dynamic where the kind of the coldest one emotionally is the one who has the shiniest, you know, public image and like theoretically would be the most optimistic, right? Because he has this wealth and this, you know, super brain. And but
he's the shining example of you know, success.
And even as a villain, you know, in like I don't think Veet's like an evil genius that wants to make the world worship him. He's like, I got to save the world, and here's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's horrifying to look at as readers, but you can't in the way the world is set up in this story, say like, well, he's wrong.
True.
He does.
It's a take. I'll say that.
Yes, he famously accomplishes his goals. So, on one hand, he's the villain. On the other hand, like, is he, like, if you were to look at this from like, what does the author, who is the author on the side of, objectively, Veidt is victorious. He accomplishes his goals, and his goal is world peace, and the methods that he uses achieve it. But I guess, as the readers, we're just kind of horrified by how it goes across.
By knowing, basically, how he got there.
Yeah, and, he's not... Obviously, I don't think anyone's rooting for him. He's not admirable. He's not a likable character, and in that regard, he's a villain. But I don't think he's not entirely wrong, though. At least in the confines of his story and how he accomplishes it.
There's gray areas again, because, and I think this is also like a funny Zen kind of thing of like, the most evil character can bring some of the greatest good,
right,
in the end. And like this like collective right here, they're all dealing with their status,
and how to serve, how to have that purpose you're talking about.
And they all tried to continue in their own way, in their own character.
Yes.
And it just they were left in an old world, I guess. The world was moving on without them.
And these are the whole like Scrappy-Doo thing with Rorschach constantly.
I love it.
Like, easily the most, like, we're not supposed to look up to and admire Rorschach, obviously, but he's the most
But damn, we're
fun.
rooting for him. Right?
Yeah, he's you can't tell me not to like this character, and you make him the most likable.
He's my pick for main character.
Yeah, for sure. Story. I mean, the story starts with him, and like it kind of ends with his story. So we are all Rorschach. Our life on the streets is going on. Our therapist guy who's kind of had his brain cracked and is now wandering the streets in a Rorschach-like fashion. And then Veidt's kind of revealing more of his plan, his backstory. The things are heating up on the streets, and it's kind of beautiful what's going on down here. Because first of all, from a just mapping out the layout, it's like amazing. All the different angles of the street, you see the same thing happening on, which of course ties in with seeing the history through all the different characters' eyes. And we're leaning into more of these faces with the character just looking straight at us. Lots of themes tying in here, and the story kind of.
I just noticed we're moving clockwise.
Yeah. Oh,
what the fuck? Like,
that's a new one to me. Yeah.
This way, and now we're going here to this side of the street, and then I'm pretty sure the next panel goes that way.
And that's
looking straight in. Yeah. Oh my.
Here's our clock.
No way.
Amazing to see. And so it's kind of like the nastiest subversion of sorts in any comic, because he's like, I've already done this plan. It's already happened.
It happened 5 minutes ago or something like that.
I did it 35 minutes ago.
There you go.
And it's like we're all just kind of like
right there.
Here's kind of our base. I consider this like the conclusion of that shadow motif that's going through, and kind of like answering the question of the what do you call it? Like all the graffiti on the walls and everything, ending with the Percy Bryce Shelley quote, very literary, and then kind of the smug article laying out what a great guy he is. This is like reading I don't know, let's call it pre-2016, like Elon Musk glazing, which is so horrifying to read now. People just be like, I think this guy has a plan. Fast forward to like, you can actually make your wife can be computer now. The time of flesh is over, actually.
Which is the time of silicone.
Yeah, so we're in our we're glazing Elon in this in this one as we're watching
And this just to end it on the
yes,
just nostalgia
look
brought to you by
this
the
shit, bro.
And here it is.
The midnight hour, Pale Horse has been playing the show. All of these people are packed in, and basically we have this horrific tentacle monster that's been teleported here and blasted everyone with psychic horrors, which all of the various artists and people that have been missing throughout the story. What they've been concocting was this monster thing, some more Gordian knot, lock.
There's so much more detail in this level.
The big reveal of the monster itself. And of course, standing in the middle of us now is Dr. Manhattan. And keep calling her Sally Jupiter. Jupiter Girl? We're going to keep calling her whatever she is. They're back. She's horrified. He's all buggy because of the tachyons, which is what they needed to teleport things. Because Ozymandias is trying to figure out John's teleportation, and he couldn't figure it out without, killing the thing on the other side, which is fine in this case. Again, this is like just solid writing, fun, sci-fi action storytelling. And this is just in a weird way a postscript, like they were just watching sort of seeing that this plan that Ozymandias set up is very real. He traps John, and that, again, it's that motif that Veidt is willing to wipe out the life of what he cares about in order to continue his plans.
This was the only thing he cared about.
Yeah, and
literally,
and same with that like sanctuary, that garden in snow. Him just willing to exterminate it. I guess this is where if maybe his plan was successful, this is kind of where he earns his place as a villain. Yeah. When he's you can't not be a villain and off your own pet. Like there's just we don't have that capacity as human beings. You can morally gray out all you want, right. You show a weird snow leopard getting murked. That's a bad, and you're on the side of the guy doing the murking. Like, you fucked up.
That's when it's a little dark.
Yeah, and of course, this is sort of our lowest point now. Veidt's kind of conquered everyone to some extent, but then, ha 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 ha,
the big John,
Jolly Green Giant comes in. And it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? You couldn't. No, you can't do this
in that Superman fashion. I mean, this is giving Lex Luthor Superman
for sure. And I mean, again, he's painted. He's draped in purple and gold, and he's kind of regal Alexander the Great thing. Amazing panel, one of the best in this saga.
It's so
champion
good,
him. His arms being the V for victory, of course, in front of the Gordian knot, the kind of most simple utilitarian answer to the riddle. These aren't subtle things they're doing, but they're damn effective.
They're super,
And again, it's like a complete subversion of the superhero trope, because it's like, what do you do now? They've lost essentially. If the setup is to sort of stop Veidt from doing what he's doing, but they didn't, and it's like that's about as subverted as you can get, right? For the superhero story. It's like, have the superheroes, quote unquote superheroes, lose, quote unquote, and in the defeat is victory in a sense, because world peace does happen. Here's again our shadow. I guess it wasn't the conclusion to our shadow motif. We got
a little more.
Yes, the two lovers, and what a transition! If this was in a movie, this is like a Baz Luhrmann shit.
There you go.
Someone looks at the clock, and then it flashes to a wheel of a car turning around. Yeah, it's like very heavy-handed. And this is kind of Dr. Manhattan being a little utilitarian himself, because Rorschach's, what a fucking line. I think
he always had it in for him though, because
he's like that. There's like, again, they're a forced dyad of sorts, but there's also like, you can't like maybe we've come to the same conclusions, but we're not tight like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all kind of like, Veet's just like, yeah, you guys got to kind of sit on this one. What are you gonna do? Start fucking World War III? Like this is the
Right.
whole point I did this. Like none of you guys are gonna say shit, which is kind of pimp, right?
Yeah.
But like Rorschach to out pimp the pimp is just like choking, of course. No. Well, you got to pay for this.
Yeah, of course. He's like, no.
And everyone's just like,
no.
guy, like you see the big picture. We're here.
Mhm.
Nope, no compromise, even in the face of Armageddon.
I respect my guy, man.
Of course, yeah. Again, how do you not fucking root for him here? And even though he's wrong, right? Like you can't
ultimately
really do anything at this point. But like, and here's our face close up again. Ligma balls. Boom.
He exploded him. He could have disintegrated him,
teleported him to a different place. Like
he fucking blew him up.
Yeah, it's like cold, but it's sort of. I guess this is maybe where Veet and John kind of have something in common, where they're doing just like they're willing to extinguish life for the utilitarianness of it, and it's like, yeah, you kind of got to silence this guy.
There's that coldness to all of them. Like they kind of
right.
You got to do what you got to do.
And I guess maybe these are maybe these are the good guys here. They're finding love in the midst of this fucking stress and chaos. And John's just like, yeah, like again, economy.
Mm-hmm.
What does this tell you? Like everything you need to know about the situation. He's happy for them.
Yeah. He's satisfied. He's like, you know what? That's cool.
Yes. Maybe he even sees like the beauty and humanity in these moments. And it's just like, literally, you don't need a word to say this. You can get in so much panels. Done.
And then this whole sequence.
I love this part where he's just like, because, again, just to give everyone this kind of grayness, maybe you're thinking of Veet as like this like cold, calculating, evil wizard guy, who's mastermind this stuff. But he's like, dude, did I fuck up? Like,
yeah, he's asking him.
It's crazy because this is the kind of the closest thing to a god they have in this world. So he's like, it shows that even like this smartest guy alive who was able to outsmart everyone still has doubt over his plans, which I think is a great touch for all characters involved.
On the reread, that impacted me more than it ever has.
Yeah,
like it that made me feel like actually connected with the dude.
Yeah,
like,
because it's like, we go so far out of our way to give everyone like this humanizing story, and it's like this is maybe where Veet's humanity comes in. Again, it's a glimmer of it, but it's like he's to see them still have doubt in the end about his plan that absolutely won out, and like he's still looking for answers. Like, did it all worked out it all worked out in the end? He goes, in the end, nothing ever ends.
Nothing ever ends.
Hard. And then just disappears, but he's still trying to like plug him for answers. It's like, you figure it out.
I mean, it's like he's just screaming into the void, like they all are.
And so here's our post script where it's like you see, they're kind of in incognito mode. Obviously, I can only imagine what like identity is, because you could be, if you had any debt, like I died in New York, brother. I'm sorry. I'm a new guy now. Yeah. Get your $20 from the pile of cinder out there. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, like if you want a morality tale, because again, this is notoriously like the edgelord, right? Alan Moore, the edgelord, and Watchmen, the grim, dark, gritty, blah blah blah. People's lives take them strange places. They do strange things. Well, sometimes they can't talk about them. I know how that is. I love you, Mom. You never did anything wrong by me. It's like, here's your edgelord, guys. Like, like, is this to me? This is pretty gushy, and like to go on and just say like, look, I don't know, maybe this is a bit wordy, like it is what it is, but it's like that's kind of what they say. It's like, it's a fucking mess. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
It's a smattering of just events that happen to everybody.
And
this fucked me up this
Yeah,
time.
I mean, because again, this is the baddest cat in the world. This is
Yeah.
a rapist, a monster, but you
And yet
she still has
she
these
loved
feelings.
him.
Again, this is like it. People are complicated. People are messy. Life is
Hmm.
messy. Life doesn't solve nicely, and it's just like I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like a hacky to say the moral is there is no morals, but it's like in
Yeah.
contrast to the superhero, punching the bad guy and getting out. It's like this is the real world. Sometimes
Hmm.
you have feelings for people who are really awful humans, and is maybe double that when they're dead. It's like a pretty heavy and mature concept, I guess. Again, I think about like a 15-year-old reading this and maybe
Yeah.
not quite connecting. Maybe you are the 15-year-old reading this, me talking to you right now, but it's like you get older and these things kind of still they hit harder.
When time, with the passing of time,
Yes,
and nostalgia
of
right there.
course,
Wow.
which ties in with Millennium, which is his new thing. And these are sort of like I don't know. You're seeing Veet's influence
Mm.
maintain in this kind of uh, post
Like
psychic
peace.
alien monster world. You're seeing peace in the land. You're seeing the new rebranding of nostalgia. You're seeing there's still graffiti, but it's kind of more upbeat. And like I don't know, I like this panel a lot. You have the Veet sneakers
Yeah.
trampling on the New York survivors headline. Little on the nose, but it's still like okay. Oh, I like this one a lot too. RR to run in '88, and which to us is Ronald Reagan, but to them it's Robert
Robert
Redford.
Redford.
Come on
Dude, the
now,
morgue. Tales from the morgue.
beautiful,
Oh man.
beautiful. Like when I say in every nook and cranny, look at these are
Yeah.
nooks and crannies we're in here,
Literally in the gutter.
and we close out with the John Cale quote, another music one, and it's like kind of a perfect ending, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like we don't say like, and then his book was published and everyone found out and there was a backlash against Veet and here's the next chapter. It's like it's the chance. Like what are people going to read? And this is like a conspiracy theory mag,
Yeah,
so it's like
this is the Alex Jones of
yeah, exactly, which is so prescient because it's like
yeah.
that's kind of where things are now, which is like, you know, a post-truth,
Right.
media landscape where, you're what does it matter what reality is
Right.
anymore? Does it if you have a critical mass of people believing something from cranks,
Right.
does it matter if it's real or not if all these people are believing consensus reality? It's like
Yeah.
this is ever bit as relevant today, probably
Hmm.
more so today than it was then. This element of it, the fact that truth, as it were, could be so
Yeah.
morally ambiguous and less concrete. Good back matter on this one if you're kind of wondering to buy
Oh.
the absolute edition or not. I don't feel there's like you get some people writing about it. Yeah, they actually were able to. Oh yeah, okay.
Wow.
They had to go to 1988 to find Alan Moore to get
Wow.
him. This is a little sneaky. I don't really like that because he's not. Well, I'm sure he sees royalties from this stuff, but they did our man dirty. The whole this story
They
with
told him that they were going to give him back this IP,
yeah,
right?
they're like, yeah, write your story. We'll give it back to you once we stop publishing it. And they never stopped publishing
Motherfuckers.
it because there was no fucking precedent for collected editions getting reprinted forever. He assumed it would be like all his 2000 AD shit where it's like,
Wow.
yeah, they put it out and then it was
It's
available and then it
gone.
wasn't. And he's like, but I'll be able to retain this. And they did him dirty. And so like I think there's Alan Moore stuff now, like with Miracle Man, like he literally won't put his fucking name on it. It's if you look at
Whoa.
like the newer editions of Miracle Man, it's like by the artist whose name I forget.
It's not Bassett, right?
Let's say it
Or
is just
something like
with the
that.
artist like Bassett or whoever the artist is, and the original writer is what they call it. He doesn't even
Whoa.
use a nom de plume. He's like, you're not going to use
Wow.
my fucking name to sell. if you think this stuff is messy as far as rights retaining like the Miracle Man stuff, I still don't understand that shit. I read that Wikipedia like 10 times, and I'm still just like, all right, it was Shazam, and then it was also Sued should be it, and then but then Britain it was this, and you lose your mind with going down that rabbit hole. But yeah, he's not promoting Watchmen. He doesn't have anything to say about Watchmen, which is so cruel in a sense.
I think that's some badass shit if you can walk away from it and still have a whole slew of stories that you're known for.
It's hard. I can't imagine he not receiving money from them,
right?
But it is, regardless what they're giving him, it should be his, you know, period, morally. And, you know, that's that. So, yeah, they're not getting him being like, oh, looking back after 30 years later, I'm going to say this and that. He's just like, fuck you.
Yeah, he gave him that shit.
Give it back to me. And so, yeah, they have to scrounge around for, you know, stuff he wrote in the 80s about it. And yeah, but Dave Gibbons will still come out. Not that I think he was maybe had more, whatever. He's fine. He'll still come out for it. I think, you know, Gibbons understands. It's like, look, if your name is attached to something this big, it's like, you know, it's almost like being on Motown. You know, it's like, yeah, you're not, and I'm sure Gibbons is getting paid. Don't get me wrong, but it's like he can go into any convention ever and get a pretty penny sketching Dr. Manhattan's dong, or a Rorschach sketch. Or I
was gonna say, as a cartoonist, that's probably your bread and butter. You got to show up to, you know.
Yeah, well, you don't gotta, but you know, the fact that it's an option, there's a lot of people who would really, really, really like that option. That's something Tim Vigil said, I think, in a Cartoonist Kayfabe interview. If not a Cartoonist Kayfabe one, it was one of those. God, what a fucking
so rad,
cunty Dr. Manhattan.
That pose.
He's like Tim Vigil said this from Faust and all those. He was like, look, I don't know. I thought we were doing like, you know, independent stuff would be cool. But he's like, the best I've figured it out is that if you want to have success as an artist, because he's in a bad place. Like, he's very open about like just how things haven't worked out the way he would have liked them to. I think he's pretty bitter. And you know, Tim Vigil's
the darkest shit.
He's immensely talented, and I don't think anyone can look at those old Faust or fill in the blank comics that he wrote and isn't like immediately transfixed by the art. He's an amazing artist.
Yeah.
But what at the same time, they're not doing Faust Funko Pops. And Faust doesn't really have maybe the cultural cachet that garbage comics from that period, like Deadpool of all fucking things. You know, like, yeah, if I'm Tim Vigil, I'm very pissed off about Deadpool. But he said, to get back to my point, like, he's like, there's no shortcut for doing a long run and just eating shit and just like sitting down and just doing 3 years of Spider-Man, doing fucking a decade of X-Men, whatever, as an artist, and getting your name associated with those characters in a way. And then he's like, you go to any con, you know, Frank Miller is a crazy outlier. Let's give you something a little more of a soft pitch. Like, oh, fucking yeah, Dave Gibbons, whatever.
Yeah.
So heavily associated with these Watchmen comics that it's like, not that he needs to do this or anything, because I'm sure he's fine, but like, if he needed to make his cell phone bill, he could just do some sketches of Dr. Manhattan. He could do some sketches of Rorschach, and like, he's set, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, if, I guess, and also to the Tim Vigil thing, he's like, yeah, you do that, and then you do a launching pad to your creator own thing, which would be like, you know, all the image guys or whatever. And, God, who did Savage Dragon?
Jim. No, what's his name? The bald dude.
Eric Larson. Yeah. It's like, even if he never did Savage Dragon, like, he can sketch a Spider-Man, you know, like he could sketch.
Series was fun.
Amazing. And he's like very, you know, he's a lifelong, you know, you just leave a mark, you leave an impact. So I think for an artist to have an impact as indelible as Watchmen, like, regardless of the money, regardless of look at these B characters that we're just sketching out, regardless of, like, you know, whether you were treated fairly, whatever, like, I think you have to appreciate that, like, you've been, you know, canonized. You're you're an eternal legend for these. We have some are these. They say which ones this is. Gibbons from Food for Thought, a benefit book predating the script.
Huh.
So you can kind of see some proto Watchmen imagery in some of his earlier sketches. And obviously, I think because he has maybe a favorable relationship with the series, he's willing to donate some of his sketchbooks and stuff to kind of pad these things up. Some sample art, continuity sample predating the first script. So cool. I mean,
this is sick.
Yeah, just seeing this, like, I don't know, just like sitting under some stack of paper somewhere.
Yeah. This
Alan,
is just some like developing the story.
Yeah, and here's his like, yeah. I mean, we're not going to bore you with reading all this stuff out, but like, you get to see his scripting, which is like panel 2,
wow,
panel 3. Like that's
dude, did you highlight this or was this
no, this is like it just comes like this
shit.
because I think this is Gibbons working off of what Alan's giving him, because he's got to figure out what to draw, and it's like, let it be known that Alan Moore is not, because everyone has different scripting methods, but like for a first page to see this much text, it's not like splash panel where Spider-Man punches a lizard, bottom panel, lizard, licks himself. You're good, Spider-Man, but not that good. Next page,
Yeah.
It's like, no, here's what I want in the fucking background. Here's the perspective I want. Here's what the interior needs to look like. Here's what needs to be on the poster there.
Put a pyramid logo on it.
Yes.
Don't stick an eye on the top of the pyramid. To the specific mark. Man, this is insane.
So yeah, there's interpretation in the artwork for sure, but it's like there's also a very intense specificity, which from what I understand is true of all of Alan Moore's scripts. They're supposed to be very to the point. But yeah, look at this is one fucking page of this goddamn comic, and it's just metaled out, like
it's tense.
Yeah,
wow, that's so cool.
It
was
just
almost fully formed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, sketches. I think, I don't know. I want to see. Yeah, Gibbons thumbnails. Okay, I've heard Alan Moore will sketch things out.
That's cool.
But I hear Grant Morrison is a big writer who sketches out his stuff for people. But yeah, what beautiful art to just have. I mean, how long did you carry this stuff around with you? Like, ultimately, the scrap that you use to turn into the art that turned into the comic, and you still have these thumbnails sitting around. It's very, very generous of Mr. Gibbons to share all this stuff with us.
Whoa, that's fucking hard.
Yeah. I don't know if that made the cover, right?
Mm-mm.
So he's just, see a lot of ideas, God, this is tough. It doesn't look like that one BDP album cover that's like a take of the famous Malcolm X one with him by the window with the gun. Crazy.
That shit's hard.
Got some painting. I think, are some of these from the role-playing game? Yeah. There's an RPG, like a tabletop module. Yeah. The same way there was for like Ninja Turtles or whatever. There was a
like
Watchmen one.
Shit.
Yeah. There's apparently a lot of information in there fleshing out the worlds. I think that Alan Moore had something to do with the role-playing game module. So like that's the only non-watch. If I'm not getting it mixed up, I hope I'm not. Maybe he was. It's either Alan Moore was involved in it, or the complete opposite, that he wasn't involved in it, and that's why he was pissed off about it. And
that's where it started.
Yeah, one of my that's
a fucking poster right there.
Yeah, I want to say that there's a T-shirt. Yeah, that's a T-shirt design that you'll see if you go haunting your the vintage comic book stuff.
I can't help but notice the was this a big inspiration on the Los Bros?
I don't know. I mean, I think I feel like this stuff was in such, I don't know, different spheres. Right. Like there's so nothing cool about the indie and mainstream comics were at such odds that it was like, it felt like, I don't know, maybe I'm mistaken, but it seemed like for the most part it was like if you weren't if you had a Marvel or DC logo on you, none of the guys who were doing Fantagraphic stuff were gonna read your shit, kind of no matter what. And like, for those guys who, grew up reading Robert Crumb comics, Frank Miller's Daredevil wasn't like moving the needle. So I would be curious what the indie guys were doing with Watchmen as it comes out. I mean, I didn't read this comic till the I think around like 2001, 2002. I never like cracked it open, and I had I was raised on all the main staple comics. It was just never like put in my hands in that kind of way.
Yeah.
Just as far as like what, and yeah, to my point, like when I started reading Hate and 8 Ball and like Evan Dorkin and all those guys, I was like, I'm not picking up a fucking superhero comic again, period.
That's not
like
the move.
And eventually you come back around, like all pendulums, you swing the other way and get a more level-headed view of things. But this comic had a huge role in kind of bringing me back to superheroes and like, not being such a fucking snob, kind of enjoying it and seeing exactly what you could do with not just the medium, but with superhero comics.
And to carve out the idea of what a superhero is. It's a moral gray area, even the best of them. Like, I guess the only true good in the story was the original Owl guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, but even that's like, it's quaint, and his world got like kind of taken from him in a sense, like the world changes, and maybe we're, Jesus, if you don't see that in our modern landscape, you ain't paying attention. But like the world changes, and if you're that like just gonna be concrete in a world that's fluid around you, I don't know, maybe you do end up getting beaten to death by metaphorically
with a gratitude trophy.
Yeah, your accomplishments will be used against you. There's not a world. How does a guy who's like fist fighting bank robbers dealing with having a psychic alien transported into the world, which I actually kind of that in a weird way that kind of comforted me about what we I think both agree is one of the most uncomfortable moments is seeing Hollis Mason get beaten to death. Like everyone dies anyways, so he would have been killed in the psychic alien blast at least. So that maybe
that's
makes
true.
Some kind of balance there. But
he passed in the blaze of like glory too, because of that sequence of you see like his past.
Yeah,
I guess you live by the sword, you die by the sword, right?
Or fucking you die by a goddamn alien getting teleported into your brain. I watched this there's this like slop movie that I really like right now. It's not Netflix, of course. Slop Master, called The Rip, with it's got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in it.
Oh, okay.
First of all, I'm of an age where it's like there's a movie with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and I've never fucking heard of it, and it came out on Netflix. All right, like
let's try it.
Perplexing to me that's like that's like where we're at with films, where it's like, shouldn't that be a big deal? Or anyway,
yeah. Why? Well, did it get a premiere even?
No, of course not. And secondly, I'm of a belief that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are just cool. I just like to see them on screen, kind of, no matter how shitty the story is. And it's a very shitty story, but I think it's that and the last season of Stranger Things have kind of drawn more attention to what they have already kind of told us is like the Netflix style of scripting, which is like, I just dropped my, I just, that guy you were talking to, he was at the warehouse we were at, and he was talking to this other guy and telling him a bad thing about you. The bad thing he told about you? Yeah, he was in the warehouse telling him that. Wow, I can't believe that guy who was in the warehouse was telling you, just repeating over and over again every
Is it because
detail.
People aren't paying attention?
It's literally, and it's like kind of been rumored, but I think like now, at least as Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are promoting this movie, they're like, yeah, the script they sent us back, and they're like, make it more obvious what's happening, like reiterate what people are saying. And that's what the Stranger Things premiere is like. There's lots of complaints about that. That it's like, okay, so the Demogorgon is here, and what we have to do is get Vecna and trap him here. Okay, guys, so here's the plan. And when he gets Vecna, we have to go in or whatever the fuck. I haven't seen that show.
Out like...
Yeah, it's just so reiterated because it's for people who are just looking at their fucking phone. The other day I was watching some Star Trek show with my girlfriend. She's a big Trekkie,
nice,
as it were. And there's this new show. They're like at the academy, and there's this guy who's like, he's like, the hard nosed kind of Kirk type, I guess, where he's like, Dad, I don't like this Starfleet Academy. I'm going to bust out. And he's like, leaving, and you see him kind of going over a fence, and then to leave the campus, which he's not supposed to do. And he looks back and he sees his girl for the first time, and he's kind of falling in love with her. And he's like, oh, you're, hey, who are you? Or what are you doing? And he starts chatting with her while he's like on this fence to kind of run away. And there's like a second where I'm like, okay, yeah. So get it? It's heavy. It's a little heavy handed, right? Because he's on the fence.
Oh, wow.
But then I'm like, which is fine. I'm not mad at that. But then she's like, so what do you think about the camp? He goes, I don't know. It's fine. And she goes, you're literally on a fence right now. I'm like, we don't like.
They didn't have to point it out.
Think of the shit we've seen in this comic where it's like, again, the sneakers trampling over the headline, and there's a Veet logo on the sneakers, and it's like, hey, you're wearing Veet sneakers, and you're also stepping on the place that says New York. It's kind of like how Veet just stomped on New York.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's been nice reading a book that sort of trusts its viewers. And I don't think Watchmen is subtle. I do not think this is a book where you need to like have these scholarly reference points to understand what's going on. Maybe there's some things you'll miss the first time around. That you'll see that, and I'm on my dozenth read through of this, and I'm sure on my dozen plus one, my baker's dozen read through. And like when I'm 60, I'm going to be seeing stuff that I didn't see now, and I'm going to be feeling it in a different way. I'm always going to be getting more out of this book for sure, but it's again just more. The more the world does not trust you to pick up on subtlety.
And like, I guess that's what I would bring up of like visual literacy, I guess. That why engage in, like, if you're not going to engage in the story,
right?
Like, then you're not gonna. I mean, there's like a comfort to like the slop movies.
Yeah, of course. Sure. Yeah, I'm just saying. This is to say I liked that movie.
Yeah.
It's dumb as shit.
It's probably serves its purpose in that way, and like, but with comics and stuff, it just you can and can't turn your brain off while reading it.
Right, and I don't know. Obviously we are like the comic book medium strongest soldiers. Like we are out here. Those kind of like outlier lifelong comics fans who appreciate the medium as the medium. And I'm sure anyone watching a goddamn YouTube channel about people fucking doing this are in that club as well, I assume. But that said, 98% of comics that you're going to pick up off the shelf are not going to have this level of quality to it. I mean,
no way.
This is like, my favorite comic. So obviously I'm going to say 99.9 infinite percentile are not going to have this, because to me this is just a perfect work of art. I hold this in higher esteem than any other comic out there. This is, or whatever. I don't think that is really true. Once like you're in that scope, when you're on the top shelf, you're on the top shelf. I'm not a sports fan. I don't need to get into like the percentage shoots of the hits of this. Oh no, you can't even compare. Yeah. Dark Knight Returns is nowhere in the same stratosphere.
We're getting into that Eltingville kind of.
Yeah, style, exactly. Like, that's fucking silly. Obviously, I'm not saying that, but this is on that top shelf, and there's a reason that top shelf is there. And most comics you're going to read are not going to be worthy of the kind of analysis that we set out to with this comic. It's just not there. Just as The Rip with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon is not going to be as enriching of a visual feast as like take your pick of your auteur of choice,
Right.
a Fellini film, or the Cassavetes work, whatever you
like
got.
Wim Wenders.
Sure, you're not going to get the same. It's apples and oranges there, but for being a very high-minded and immensely accomplished work, I think Watchmen is just so readable and it's so easy and it's so pedestrian, I dare say, where you can just pick this up without having a whole lot of background in comics and maybe not even look at it that close. Maybe just fucking thumb through it, and
it works like that.
You'll get something from it. So, needless to say, big endorsement for us. This read through has only recalcified my highest esteem of this monolithic and iconic work of comics. I have a hard time imagining anyone loving the medium and not reading this, and I have a hard time imagining reading this and not wanting more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you give someone this as their first comic, first of all, they're cursed. Secondly, you like, I can't see reading this and being like, oh, that was nice. Now to go back to playing Elden Ring. I can't imagine.
I would say it's like a gateway drug to
absolutely. How do you not get changed? Like on a fundamental atomic level, reading this book. Watchmen has changed me. To the point where I am, just wholly unashamed to glaze and glaze and glaze again this phenomenal work. I loved it. I really liked talking about it, like talking about it with you.
The masterwork,
I like that we're talking about it in a way that anyone can watch it be talked about. My love for this work just knows no bounds. I don't know what else to say.
And with Alan Moore too, the reflect, like coming off of the Tom Strong stuff,
which is him just having a good time, right?
It's the same themes, but he's changing them to be like, or what would we have, the earnest counter?
Yeah,
he really takes the same themes but makes them a little more utopian, I guess, like an actual, maybe maybe that's Watchmen too. It's fucking Tom Strong. Right,
absolutely. Yeah, you I mean, just as Dr. Manhattan was blown apart and then assembled himself back together, Alan Moore disassembles, so to speak, the comic medium, and then like after a while just fucking lets his hair down. It's just like, I don't care. This is fun.
It's just and it feels that way.
Yeah, and it's like, it's Tom Strong is probably like his most light-hearted work, but like, I don't know, even like Promethea from its time was like pretty like sincere in terms of like, he's just telling us straightforward. There's like a lot of like, it's just him kind of spurging out about like all the magic stuff that he likes, but it's still a superhero comic. It's still like an action comic. It still revels in the pulpiness kind of, not as much as Tom Strong, but this is all to say that like, again, Alan Moore, edgelord supreme, right? Like the deconstructor who hates comics and says everyone should stop reading them.
Right.
Old sourpuss Alan Moore. If you really look at what he's written, like, he loves this shit.
Of course.
You can't do this deconstruction not coming from a place of love. And I rebuke these notions that Watchmen is so like revels in its darkness or its grittiness, or that it is associated with that kind of like Joker, we live in a society, fucking grimdark stuff. Like, if that's your takeaway from reading Watchmen, I implore you to crack it open again and take a couple more passes, and read some more of, get deeper into his catalog. Speaking of, what's next, brother? We're riding the more train,
We
right?
are, yeah. I
We're
think
gonna
we
take
should
a
just
little break.
roll.
We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna read.
Yeah.
We have a handful of other things we need to read. I think we'd benefit from maybe
A little step
a
back.
palate cleanser, as they say. You know, you got to sniff the coffee beans. You got to swish the shit out and spit it out, right? You know.
Tabula
But
rasa.
there's Swamp Thing is a big one. Miracle
Yeah.
Man's a big one. From Hell's a big one.
I just found all three at a comic estate kind of.
All three
sale.
was
all three of the first graphic novel collections. So I found From Hell, Swamp Thing, his first run,
Okay.
and the first run of Miracle Man.
Yeah, I got it. So I'm gonna say dealer's choice, brother. You tell me what's next, because I got them all. We can go band for band here.
Oh man, if Swamp Thing was right after this, I gotta read
Swamp Thing's long. It's like 6 volumes.
Fuck,
I got
I'm
them.
into it, man.
We're in.
I'm so into it.
We could do a volume and episode. Okay, so up next, and I haven't, like, I don't know if I've reread Swamp Thing, but brother, let me tell you, it's fucking amazing. It's so good.
So down.
It's so good. It's so good, and it's so different than Watchmen, and also, you know, has some similarities in terms of like the layers and the text and graphics interplay, and it's I'm down with it, especially given maybe the ecological slant. I'm with the like Captain Planet shit. You know what I'm saying?
I love that shit. Yeah.
And it's like we're kind of at a we're at a point now, like as a culture, where it's like we could use some of that like hippie energy.
Oh man, that opens up the door to concrete.
Of course, it opens up and it's I would love to, through this project, get through as much Alan Moore stuff as we possibly can. And Swamp Thing is the next target. I'm on it, brother. Say less, my friend.
Well, I think we need to. Any final thoughts on this one? I mean,
This
bad boy.
I don't know if I have more. I don't know if I have a thought left in me.
I mean,
what have I not said?
There's more coming.
Exactly. So Swamp Thing is next. You heard it here first, folks. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you on the next
one. What a long series this was. This is long. I hope it was enjoyable.
I want to do it again next year.
I'm not saying we're not. It's not a no. You didn't hear a no from me. At ease, privates. Trying to make sense of having like 20 years of a cinematic universe go on, and then just being like, oh, and here's the X-Men, you know?
Yeah.
But we have to get to a world where the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and they're all hanging out. So everything until that happens is just dicking around.
They're just, yeah.
And they're dicking around. They're like, they wanted to say like, oh, well, look, we introduced them in this movie. But it's like, that's not a good movie. And it's not really a good introduction to them. And I don't know. It's the greatest privilege that the comics had, which is they could just be like, from the ground up.
Yeah.
Here it all is. They're all in New York. They're all playing together. This monster's coming. They're all in on it, you know,
they got to live in the world even more.
Yeah. And so that's like coherently how you just build a thing. With the movies, they had to like figure out how to do that without Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and X-Men. Yeah. So it's like Iron Man,
the main line,
Thor,
dude.
They made and they like moved mountains with that shit. They made mountains with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Unfathomable what they were able to do with what they had, but at the same time, it's like now we got to get them all in.
Yeah.
And like this FF just sucks. That's all it boils down to.
I would have been into it if they like, even with the feeling of how they did the like the 1950s atomic age stuff.
Yeah.
It was cool, and I get that why they would put that theme with, like, take it back a notch,
right?
Because I think that, like, have you ever read that series actually of like it's called The World's Greatest Comics, and like I think Bruce Timm and I want to say Alex Ross or a few different guys like that. Tea, yeah, dude, it's so long, dude. Cheers. Boom. They did like a retro take on the Fantastic Four during the late 90s.
Right.
And it was just like a send up to like Jack Kirby style. Like, I think that if they did that for the movie or leaned into it even, it would have been a little better.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to put it in the 60s, but like a 60s in an alternate universe. And it's just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Do you need to go cosmic?
Yeah.
You know, like
Why go Galactus first thing? You know?
Yeah. Like I mean, because you want to put like butts in seats, you want to get people in the theater, and it's like you can do Galactus or Doctor Doom, and then you're fucking holding that goddamn Doctor Doom trump card till they're fucking blue in the face.
Yeah.
Because that's like what they need to like.
They need
juice the brand.
The original Iron Man, like the boy, you know, that's their guy.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on with that, having Robert Downey Jr. playing or whatever.
What is the actual?
I have no fucking idea. And no one really knows until it's like you should just not do nothing until the damn movie comes out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there was one. Oh, you know that Thunderbolts was pretty good.
Okay,
I liked that one. Ending was a little hokey, but like generally speaking, like that cast is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't care anything about those fucking. I have nothing invested in, you know,
right?
Them as figures.
Characters.
Yeah, I don't think. The Daredevil show on Disney Plus is really good. It's just like a new season of the Netflix shows.
Oh, sick.
Like,
okay.
Really fucking fucked with those heavy when they were out.
The Netflix series, except for Power Man or whatever, they were all really good.
I think I dipped out at Iron Fist and like the Defenders wasn't very good, but yeah, I was like marathoning those like day of drop. Probably the last time I did that with any series.
So sick.
But like that one is cool. They did a pretty good job. It's Born Again, and it's not really the Born Again storyline, but you know, just nice seeing those characters back together. You know,
I mean the Frank Miller stuff, right?
Yeah, it's Wilson Fisk Wilson Fisk as mayor.
Oh,
you know, and
okay.
Fucking Vincent D'Onofrio. That's like the role he was fucking meant to play. That's like I don't know if there's a better fucking
when he was hitting the guy with the door.
Insane. There wasn't a dull moment of that guy on screen.
I could not believe that it was a fucking Netflix show.
Yeah, a Marvel show.
A Marvel show, right?
Like it's crazy how much they nailed it with that one. But yeah, it's definitely not like. I mean, I'm gonna see every single fucking Marvel movie for the rest of my life, like first day. But like the Gunverse definitely has it like washed down right now. You know, like I'm tuning into Peacemaker and way more enthusiastically than I am, checking out. Even like I'd say I like almost all the Disney Plus shows.
Not a lot of them miss. Like, what did you feel about this is now getting into Star Wars territory, but like, I think the Star Wars shows have a little more baggage, even though Marvel has more of a history. But
yeah, I mean, it's weird with it's all like none of it really has to do with the quality of the shows. It all has to do with like fan base and perception and all of that. Like none of this stuff exists in a vacuum, right? So it's like Marvel just has the problem of like they an absence of good. Like the take is after Endgame they just fell off, which is kind of hard. I mean, I like those movies and stuff. I would say like maybe the Spider-Man one was like really good. But like, it's hard to be like, Thunderbolts changed the game. Thunderbolts was pretty good, but it was pretty good, and people want, it's the momentum built up from fucking those last two, the Avengers movies. It's like hard, really hard to counter. But it was like Black Widow was legitimately bad. Captain Marvel was legitimately pretty bad.
I wish Captain Marvel was one of my favorites growing up.
Yeah.
They kind of fumbled that shit.
Well, yeah, and it was just, here's what she was like in the 90s. And it's like, you guys have set up this crazy thing with the blip happening. And it's like, what the
What is going on?
Don't tell this. No one wants to hear this story right now. We got to watch this shit happen, you know?
What, like, the biggest event, I guess, up till that point in comics movie history, and then they just like, no, let's take a detour.
Yeah, but look, they're fighting in a blockbuster. Bro, I don't fucking care. You zapped out half the goddamn universe.
Oh, that
this
was
isn't
great.
Cool.
Shit was. I was waiting the whole time. I was like, are they gonna tie? Is she gonna interject back in? Like, is she popping into there?
And then the Black Widow stuff was like, just like another one where it's like, okay, yeah, tell more new story. There was just like some weird contractual obligation. But then looking back, I did kind of set up that Thunderbolt stuff more than anything. And like the Eternals and Shang-Chi were genuinely, those are really bad movies. Like I can't, I am a stan and everything, but like those are fucking bad.
Have you been seeing I don't know if you know that, the Kumail, I think is his name. Yeah. Have you been seeing his like stand up talking about how he had to get juiced up and stay like buff and do the whole fucking rigmarole for this movie to fail?
Damn, I need to watch. I'll watch that special just for that though, because he's still all ripped, and then it's like, no one's asking for the return of Kingo, you know. And what the hell roles can you get? You're like a nerdy comedian guy.
He is totally. He's still the same guy.
You're still like, you are the IT crowd or whatever. What was that?
It was I think it was, he wrote IT crowd or something, but he was a frequent of fucking Portlandia. He would write a ton.
Like a startup company.
Oh, the Silicon Valley, dude. Valley. That's the biggest.
That's the role you were born to play, brother.
True.
We don't need you jacked.
What if we get a return of Silicon Valley and it's just
with the one rapist gone? I don't know who else can come back.
Oh shit, man!
But those were bad. So there's like a lot of bad, but like Star Wars stuff, like the visceral hatred that Star Wars fans have for Star Wars, like I think it's way overstated. But it's like Star Wars, the brand knows they have to like earn people back.
Yeah,
so they're like
every time
fighting for like, do you want this? Do you like this? What? Please? Like it's it's desperation, you know?
Yeah.
They want to be liked so bad.
They need each show to hit that blockbusters level.
Yeah, because when the movies were getting so much flack, they're like, oh, but then there's Mandalorian, and that was like some kind of bounce back. So they're just like, what can we get? Please give us some. Just like us, please. And like that crowd that's decided they're going to hate them is never going to come back, I don't think. But you also need, like, Star Wars from its inception was like a phenomenon. So it's strange to talk about these movies because it's like, like fucking, like weird indie movies that no one knows about. And it's like, I don't care. I'm going to still like this movie that no one's seen, it's like cooler if no one's seen it, right?
Right.
But like Star Wars movies and Marvel movies, you need the participation of like everyone.
It's like a public movie. Like everyone
has to be part of the phenomenon. And so it's like, on one hand, it's like, well, so what if no one likes, if like the movies aren't as beloved as they were in the past? It's like, no, if we're going to get more of them, they can't have that stink in the air,
right?
Of like, oh, this isn't like, they have to be champions,
Yeah,
they have to be crowd pleasers.
Kind of fair though, because if I don't know if you would read like the paperbacks ever of Star Wars back in the day.
Oh yeah, like the stuff. Extended universe stuff or whatever.
Yeah, that stuff is actually not bad.
Yeah, Timothy's on. And
dude, that stuff was sick. And I feel like with that in mind, or I don't know if that's just like, I've never written a fucking script, so I can't say with any certainty, but there is like the material is already there.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think if I'm Star Wars, I'm like, we like, you want to have that, like, Luke, I am your father moment. You want to have big surprises, and if they're adapting an already written story, it's like reheated nachos kind of. So like you kind of have to give them something. What the secret is, and I thought I I figured this out in Rogue One. It's like you have to give people what they didn't know they wanted, which is really complicated. Because like Rogue One was like, I don't fucking what about how we're talking about how the Bothans died to secure the plans for the Death Star. Like that's not a fucking. I don't. I mean, I'm gonna see anything Star Wars, but like that's not necessarily the pitch. I talked about a fucking bounty hunter. You know, give me some shit about fucking rogue Wookiees,
fucking sci-fi western
you know,
style.
Give me something like that. What the fuck do I care about what happened before? We already got prequels. We don't need
all this
going
setup
every fucking 5 minutes. But then, you know, that movie does what it does, and it gives you like that was genuine, honest to God fucking movie magic. I don't give a shit.
I liked it.
Anybody says,
yeah,
like, because you're you know it's about the plans. You're watching it, you're like, okay, yeah, they're gonna give them the plans. They got to give them the stuff. Okay, yeah, this is interesting. This guy's kind of sabotaging from the inside. You're in it, and then they're like, oh wait, it's still going.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
There's some shit you didn't even know about.
You're showing me like not just what happened before A New Hope. You're showing me 5 minutes into A New Hope,
and we're going in to the moment that introduced the fucking
astonishing.
It was really good. I loved that they tied it in like that.
And you saw that right off the rip. It wasn't like, come see Darth Vader bust into the Rebel freighter. Like it wasn't like no one kind of no one knew it was coming. I don't know. Maybe
I've never seen like you know how you'll get it teased or something on the gram or whatever. No one had posted about it. I saw it when it was at. I didn't even see it in theaters. Actually, I saw it at like my house.
And it's still not
still fucking
it's
banger.
Just, I don't know. I was but that's what it is. It's like you can't give people what they want. You have to give something to people that they didn't know they wanted or never considered or never thought about, and then have them love it. It's like that's really fucking hard to do, man.
Yeah,
hard enough to just tell a story.
That reminds me of like the Dave Sim stuff. Some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to give you blocks of text to read, and you're not going to like it. But then at the end of the story, you're going to be like, this is a more fleshed out world because I read those blocks of text, or because I sat through these weird esoteric battles and
like the Book of Rick and
the 3 fucking aardvarks, having a conversation for
which was in the middle of the fucking series. That's I still sit up at night and think about Dave Sim making about their. If you haven't seen it, go see it, man.
Shall we
start this thing? I'm just gonna let it roll, man.
Oh, all right. That shit I didn't realize. On.
Wow, that was 15 minutes.